Welcome back to Data Center News Asia. James, I'm sorry to shift the schedule at the last minute. You can thank the good folks at Lufthansa for my last minute travel plan shift.
Yeah, well, a lot earlier than we typically do this, but at least we're not missing a week, right? So there we go.
Yeah,
Only 70% of the week done, but yeah, gotta get it out there.
a short news week, but hit us up in the comments if we miss any important stories. I'm sure there'll be something that slips through on Friday. It seems to be the press day. Um, did you have a big story to start with, though? The Chindata saga. We reported on this a few weeks ago that Bain had made an offer of around $8 a share, which valued the company at the time at 2.9 billion, and they've now made a slightly bigger offer, which it seems will meet the criteria to take the company private, according to their press release.
Yeah, well, they've increased the valuation, or the offer has increased the valuation up to 3.16 billion, which, yeah, as you mentioned, is likely to get the deal over the line. I think it's a 42% premium. I read on the current share price. Apparently, there's some grumblings from the stockholders that feel that they're not getting fair value for their shares. But as you mentioned, it looks like it's going to go through.
Yeah, well, this is. I think I can understand the grumpy perspective of some of the stockholders. There was a bigger offer in from China Merchant Capital Group at $9.20. Obviously, China Merchant Capital Group don't already own 45% of the company, so they were not able to force theirs through, whereas Bain do. And I think this is part of the broader tale of these Chinese-based data center platforms, GDS and ADS from VNet, Blackstone, both seeing their share prices tumble quite rapidly since 2021, and this is very much the same for the Chindata Group. Despite their strong sales in some of the other markets, the overall picture for the China market is still shrinking. But I'm sure a good deal for the guys at Bain Capital. They'll be no doubt sleeping a little bit more comfortably.
Yeah, well, congrats to them for getting the deal over the line. These are a big operator, like they obviously operate under the Bridge Data Centers umbrella in Southeast Asia and India, but they've got close to 900 megawatts now, so pretty significant deal.
Most of that is still in China, or has the balance shifted now with Bridges expansions in Malaysia and India?
Yes, the vast majority is still is still in China, but I didn't actually check the Malaysia, Thailand, and Indian numbers before this, but it must be in the 150 megawatt range, I would say, right now.
Well, China a big market that seems to be having some difficulties. India a big market that we know is going from strength to strength. So one of the stories we had there this week, Yotta, who I guess a friend of the show at this point after their various drinks events in Singapore recently, they have advanced their plans to build their own public cloud service. They'll be releasing potentially by the end of this year in competition with some of their customers, maybe.
Don't like to speculate, Reese. You know that.
Yeah, but they did also want to clear up as part of the press release that we should comment on, because we did also report this a few months ago. They are not being acquired by the AI startup from the Intel founder. That story was floating around the press for a while, and Sunil wanted to put his foot down and make it clear that is actually a customer of Yotta's, and they are a person who takes space in the Yotta data center. Not sure how that got into the press that they were that they were thinking of acquiring Yotta, but no, Yotta seems to be doing plenty of their own growth at the moment, with sites across Mumbai and Noida, and quite a few more in development, I think.
Yeah, we last trip to India actually got a chance to see the Noida campus this time, which yeah, it seems the business is going from strength to strength there. Um, Potentially looking to actually move outside of India as well, which will also be an interesting development for them. But yeah, Sunil and the whole team there are rapidly building up a very impressive portfolio and platform.
And more good news for India. We've talked about actually we talked about Reliance quite recently, because they are one of the arms of Jio, who just joined into the BAM Digital Realty joint venture. I actually forget the new name of the joint venture, so I have to put that on the screen. But Reliance Jio has hit their minimum threshold for a 5G rollout well ahead of schedule. It was planned for December. They now have it approved in July, and they're planning to have all of the 22 regions in India covered in October. Sorry, in August, I should say. And this is impressive. We've seen lots of times in India things being ahead of schedule for those who can master the business practices and working conditions, and seems that they're able to do that with all parts of digital infrastructure as well.
Yeah, well, like there are a lot of exciting things happening in India, and I think a lot of the exciting things that are happening in India are being done by people who know the market as opposed to people who think they can apply practices from other regions there. So yeah, no, again, it's pretty impressive stuff from the team there.
Last one I had from India, I initially thought this was and this is still an exciting story, don't get me wrong. There's the Uttar Pradesh government, we know this is a region where there are lots of data centers being built in several different campuses, and they have signed an MOU with a group called Idogress, planning to build a $300 to $500 million quantum computer. Now, when I looked a bit more into this computer is planned to be 1 million qubits, which is roughly 10 times the power of the project that IBM and Google are building, and 10 years ahead of their schedule. The joint venture partner I couldn't find too much about online either. So, if anyone's got a spare 300 to 500 million, this could be a sneaky investment.
Yeah, those numbers are making me sweat slightly in a lot of terms I don't actually understand. So yeah, let's move on from that one, shall we?
There's a story for CapitaLand, but this is not in Asia, James.
Yeah, so like we've said it a few times before, we're talking about all the new entrants coming into all the various different markets um, across Asia, but there are also Asian funds, etc., doing a lot of stuff in Europe as well. CapitaLand, Ascendus being one of them. So they've bought a new facility, or a facility, I should say, in London, which brings their footprint up to 5 facilities there. £125 million or 210 million Sing. I think that's roughly around 150 million US for any people who prefer us reporting in dollars. Northwest London, Watford, the Watford area. So this is, I suppose, one of the newer clusters in London with the kind of the power constraints in some of the likes of Slough, etc., now taking place. Yeah, it looks like a prudent move, this one.
I mean, some Londoners would argue that Watford isn't quite London, but I think this is still quite a busy area of London. I was looking on the DC Bike map earlier, and yeah, Watford seems to have quite a few facilities all around that sort of belt of London. There's a lot of development. So, was there any news on whether this facility is already leased out? I didn't see that part, with how far the project's gone.
I didn't actually check that, but yeah, on DC Bike you'll be able to see we've got the occupancy rate for obviously all facility. So yeah, I didn't actually check, to be honest. So something, a bit of homework for after the call.
Well, congratulations to the whole CapitaLand team and to Eugene. Uh, Excellent to see more expansion from Asian businesses buying in the other markets. And the last one that I think I have on my list today, James, is a renewables update with a little bit of sustainability on Data Centers News Asia. And this is Amazon signing a solar PPA with Itochu. For those who don't know, Amazon is scheduled again this year to be the world's biggest buyer of renewable power, closely followed by Microsoft and Google as the biggest consumers of renewables in the world. So for all the flack the industry gets, I think it's good to point that out as well. Do more than many governments. But yeah, this is a power purchase agreement for 38 megawatts, which is a 700 site solar deployment, which sounds a lot. I think it's actually a bundled portfolio of solar that are deployed in sort of agricultural settings. Itochu is one of the big Japanese power groups, and so they've obviously got a large portfolio they're able to distribute. And Japan is one of those markets in Asia where you do have the mechanisms to buy these different types of power.
Yeah, and AWS have seemingly an insatiable appetite for capacity in well, Tokyo, and also pretty significant demand in Osaka as well. So I don't expect this to be the last of these kind of deals which we see coming from them, and in Japan specifically as well. So not easy doing these deals, but nice job for getting that one over the line.
Yeah, I saw actually the same company, Itochu, is they have an American subsidiary which are building a 160 megawatt wind plant near Houston, Texas, which is supposed to be sold to Meta for 15 years on a lease. So good business for those in the power industry if they can make friends on the right side of technology.
Yeah, and It all adds into the additionality story, which is a phrase I haven't said for a while, but it's one where DCs can help get these projects off the ground and provide the funding and an off taker straight away. So well done again for getting everyone getting this deal done.
Excellent. Well, bit of a shorter week than last week on the news week. We barely managed to fit into the 15 minutes. Too many news stories. I assume there'll be a bunch of press drops tomorrow morning, and we'll have to cram them into next week.
Yeah, likely. Always seems to be the way when we do it on a Thursday.
Excellent. Well, for those who are obviously watching tomorrow and not hiding behind me, happy Friday.
Yeah, cheers, Rick.
Cheers. Thanks, James. Have a good one.